So this is one of a series of videos aimed to show you how to lay out your hands and feet in correct anatomical position. So the first thing you might be confronted with as an archaeologist is a pile of hand and foot bones. And the first thing you need to do is differentiate between the hands and the feet before you can start laying them out. So the most obvious thing to do is actually to take out the biggest bones that you see. These generally belong to the feet. So I'm going to take out what are called irregular bones on one side, square cube-like bones will go into one side, those two. And then we have some smaller bones. This one's still quite square, so these belong to the feet. These are the tarsal bones I'm picking out here. Then I've got these smaller irregular bones. These are carpal bones, so I'll take these out next and find them, some very tiny ones. Get them all. There we are. So these small irregular bones, generally they belong to the hand. So I'm going to put those on the side. I'll come back to them later. Okay. The next thing I need to do is determine what are hands and what are feet, what are metacarpals for the hand and what are metatarsals for the feet. So you have these two very large bones here. So these are for the big toe. So these are for the feet. They're the largest bones you're going to see left when you finish sorting out the tarsal bones. So I'll put these metatarsals with the tarsal bones over here. And then when it comes to the other bones, they're much harder to distinguish if you don't know what to look for. So to tell the difference between a metacarpal and a metatarsal, you want to look at the shaft of the bone. So this is the head, or the distal end of the bone, and this is the base, or the proximal end of the bone. So when you're looking at these two bones, one belongs to the hand and one belongs to the foot. Look at the shafts. So the area of greatest constriction for the metatarsal is under the head. So the shaft is the narrowest under the head. It's constricted under the head. And that is a metatarsal. It doesn't matter what size or shape these bones are. If you can see the shaft and see where it's becoming constricted, you know there's a metacarpal. Those are the metatarsals. I'm going to put this over in the metatarsal pile. Metacarpal, the area of greatest constriction is down by the base. You see it flares as it goes up to the head. It's constricted at the base, or sometimes it's more central, but that's the constriction. So if you compare the two again, can you see the difference? Constriction at the base, constriction under the head. So if you go through all of them now, you should be able to separate your metacarpals from your metatarsals. I'm going to put them in their two separate piles. So this one, what do you think? It's a metatarsal. This one, see where the constriction is? Metatarsal. And we have this one, constriction, it's narrowest here. This is a metacarpal. So I'll do that for all of these bones as I go through them. Once you learn the trick, you can do it quite quickly. As I say, it doesn't matter what size or shape these bones are, they can be all different sizes and shapes. If you stick to looking for the constriction, you generally be okay. Right, then I'm left with these two unusual looking bones as well. So these are similar to the big toe. Oops. You have the first metacarpal, so this is for the thumb. So they're quite distinctive. So we separated them out. Now I'm left with fingers and toes. Stray carpal bone. So I'm left with the fingers and toes. So the way to tell the difference between a proximal phalanx of the hand and a proximal phalanx of the toe is actually when you look at them side by side, they are very different. So your fingers are much longer than your toes. So it stands to reason that the first proximal phalanges for the fingers and toes are different sizes. So in the fingers, they are rectangular with a kind of a flat base. And they're almost the same shape all the way up. There's no constriction for the proximal phalanx of the hand. Proximal phalanx of the foot has got a constriction in the center. It's like a little dumbbell. Okay, and both have round facets on the base. single round facets, and that's because they articulate with the heads of the metacarpals or the metatarsals, which are single round shape. Okay, so you work your way through these to get rid of the proximal one. So this one's for the foot, this one's for the hand. So I'm going to work my way and take the ones with the single facets I'm looking for. The rectangular ones with single facets are going over to my hands. That's those. And then my feet, these ones, they've got this kind of very round, kind of sticky up base like that. So taking those. So you won't have everything. These are plastic, so they're wonderful because they're wonderfully complete. But reality is, in archaeological specimens, you'll have some bones missing. You just have to determine what you have. Then there are some quite large bones left over here. These are the largest ones left once you've taken the hands out. The toes, I've got a single base, and these are for the thumb. Again, single base. Right, then the next thing to do is look for the intermediate phalanges, which are this bit between these two knuckles here. These have a double base because the heads of the proximal phalanges that they articulate with also have a double base. Okay, so you're looking for the double based ones now. And again, these are very distinctive for the hand. They're rectangles again, flat bottom almost. Whereas for the foot, they practically look like little pebbles. So they often don't get excavated, teeny tiny ones, but these are still legitimate bones for the foot. So you can tell the difference between the two, right, obviously. So I'm going to separate these out now on my hands. And then these little ones for my foot. Sometimes they're fused to the distal phalanx, this little arrow-shaped head. And that's in life, they can often be fused together like that. It's a normal variation. So I'm intermediate phalanges. So what I'm left with are the distal phalanges now, these arrow-shaped heads. Again, if you compare the hand and the foot next to each other, the hand is elongated compared to the foot. So they're fairly easy to distinguish between each other. So we'll take those out, long ones. Taking up the long ones and putting those in my hand pile, and then the foot ones, putting them in my hand pile. And then we're left with some quite large bones again. So hopefully you can guess what's going on here. This is for the thumb, and this is for the foot. Okay, so those are for the big toe, and these are for the thumb. Okay, so that's the first video that shows you how to separate your hands and your foot and your feet into two piles.